Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Summer Chakra series. Tonight, we're going to do the crown chakra. So, I apologize for my moody lighting. You know, we are opening the witch and the priestess. So we've been making reels of me and Stephanie painting and doing things there. So my ring light is at the studio where there's no internet. So the light you see on me right now is my iPhone flashlight. So if that goes out, this is going to be dark and romantic. So it is crown chakra day. I'm going to share. Let me pull up our PDF. There it is. And I will share my screen. So because this is crown chakra day, what I wanted to do was take a minute and have like a small meditation. A lot of the crown chakra, Sahasrara, is about how we connect with the divine and how we connect with our higher self and how we know ourselves. So I first want to preface this with, I obviously have my own ideas about the divine and they come through in my work, but they are one divine fractal's relationship with God. And everybody's relationship with their higher power, their higher self, the divine, the creator is very unique. And I have come to find through crown chakra work just as valid as anybody else's. I don't know that anyone can define or limit the unknown, the creator. So we're just going to close our eyes and just take a deep breath. And I want you to feel your feet grounded on the floor or wherever they are. So one of the things I love about the crown chakra is that the balance to the crown chakra is your root chakra. So not only is your root chakra the foundation, but your root chakra is the balance to the crown. Your beautiful human body and journey is the balance to all that is. So just taking a deep breath in, filling up your belly. Exhale, pull that belly button to spine. Couple more like that. Inhale, fill the belly. Exhale, belly button to spine. And you can do that on your own, nice and slow. We're activating part of our physical body, the vagus nerve. We are physically grounding in and settling, calming our nervous system. And feeling your body reach down into the earth. Feel like a column of light from your heart space reaching down into the earth. Feeling your body getting heavier in the chair. Your shoulders relaxing. Your jaw relaxing. Feel your hair relaxing. Let your breath be your guide. And feel that pillar of light that's grounded deep in Mama Earth, reaching all the way up through the sky, through the atmosphere, and beyond anything we have any comprehension for through the universe. Parallel universes, the multiverse, And I invite you to maybe place your hand on your heart. And take a moment to breathe into what you do know about the divine, what you have solidified in this human journey. Invite in what you're remembering about the divine and yourself. And invite in space for the unknown. Invite in any angels, any ascended masters, any guides. And take a moment to connect to God or your higher power. And feel into that familiarity, that deep, profound knowing, the peace that passes all understanding. And just take a minute to see what that looks like for you. And breathe into it, remembering that the entire universe is available to you through this crown chakra in your human experience. And the breath reminds us that we're alive. It reminds us that we're in our human body in this present moment. And after a few inhales and exhales, when you are ready to ground all of that magic in with you into this circle, to this sacred space that we've laid together, you can flutter your eyes open. And we'll begin. All right. Thank you for that. I can tell you, I think I remember profoundly the first moment I had a vision of God, asking God for a vision and seeing what God showed up as for me. And it was almost like a constellation, like this enormous constellation of a male and female, but all the stars were merging. And I'm not sure what God was showing me, but I mean, I do have a lot of ideas about what God was showing me, but I remember the moment being very profound and it feeling very real. And that is the journey of the crown chakra, not that specifically, but knowing that we know. So does anyone want to talk? Does anybody want to share into sacred space, or are we comfortable beginning? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Sahasrara chakra. This is our crown chakra. So it means thousandfold. The deity here is Shiva. So if you remember, in the beginning, when we talked about the body, it was Shakti. The woman, Shakti is the feminine energy of the cosmos, and she represents matter in Hindu, in the Hindu religion and pantheon. Shiva is the masculine energy and represents pure consciousness and governs the crown chakra. So again, we talked about the crown and we talked about the root and that need to have that togetherness, that balance. And it's very reminiscent of Mama Earth and Father Sky in some Native American lore. And I'm sure we can go on and on about Gaia and God the Father and different ways that we tend to recognize spirit. The archangel here is Jophiel. And honestly, I thought it was going to be Metatron. Metatron did not show up on the chakra chart. And I'm sure there's a reason, but Archangel Jophiel. And remember, these are all of God. And Archangel Jophiel is the beauty of God. So this is the archangel of illumination and beautiful thoughts. So we can pray to Archangel Jophiel. And, you know, if you've done angel work, it feels imperative since we've talked about angels, and I usually do much more preliminary work on working with angels, but angels, they are available for your needs and to support you, and they want to support you. And angels, like when you call on Archangel Michael, you're not bothering Archangel Michael, because Archangel Michael is so ascended, he can be everywhere at once, right? Everything's happening in the infinite now. So, you know, an angel, an angelic form knows how to be everywhere at all times. Just like if you call on Mother Mary, she can be there. Or if you call on Shiva, or if you call on Freya, they can all be wherever you are. The difference between, so there's those archetypes, but the angels are available for your prayers and requests, but they request that you give all glory to the Creator. And when I work with angels, I feel like angels are showing us what we already are. They're supporting us. So Archangel Michael fuels you with courage until you realize that you're stronger than everything else in the world, that you're just as strong as anything else in the world. And when we work with Raphael, you know, divine love and friendship and healing, the healer, an ascended person, an enlightened person could heal themselves energetically, which is always a little trippy when you teach yoga and you teach classes like this, because people start to feel into the magic of what we can manifest and create. And sometimes they'll stop taking medicines and things like that. So I don't recommend that. I always say, until you are the Dalai Lama or Jesus or Buddha, you know, everything still needs to go through a doctor. It's my disclaimer. So Jophiel can support you in positive thinking, keeping your thoughts positive, manifesting. So Jophiel can help you to be positive and to be in alignment so that you can manifest. It allows you to create beauty in your surroundings, beauty within your heart. And Archangel Jophiel brings wisdom and inspiration. He also assists people working in the arts. So the archetype of the artist is generally about, you know, divine creation. You know, there's the Michelangelo, Leonardo, the greats, the people who their art stands the test of time. Those are people who it's just like a vibration coming through them of pure beauty. So he is associated with artists. He helps attain your negative ego. We know the ego is actually our friend. It's just a really overbearing friend. So it's just about having a really good relationship with our ego. It's not going anywhere. And you can connect with Archangel Jophiel whenever you're seeking spiritual understanding and inspiration, or if you're in need of a change of perspective. And we'll see how he's associated with the crown chakra as we get into the different ways, the traumas and abuses. So his color is yellow, and I always love that. I love anything yellow. I don't know why, but he is his ray. He's the yellow ray. I'm just going to throw it out there that's the beauty of God, the color yellow. So the location is your cerebral cortex. I often think about a baby soft spot, which is where, you know, babies, when they're born, they're just leaving that beautiful infinite wherever they came from to, you know, choosing to come into this human journey. And I always associate that baby soft spot closing up with the journey of becoming human. The element here is thought. So a little about the element of thought. We talked about how Earth, you know, we got through our cardinal elements, and this is an energy that, oh, we're going to get into thought later. I'll save that. I actually have a whole slide on thought. We'll get into that later. But this is the element of thought. The color is generally violet, although many people call it white. But if we recall from the Rig Veda, there are no colors in ancient Hindu lineage. We made these up. So you can associate with purple and you can tap into that rainbow that we love. I always sense the crown chakra as white. It is always divine white light to me. But it is whatever resonates with you. The purpose is understanding. This is processing. The basic right here is to know and to learn. And to me, that's even a balance, because what we need to learn and what we already know within our hearts, to me, that's a beautiful balance in the journey of wisdom. The identity here, remember, we had the identity of the self, the identity of the family, the identity of, different pieces. This is universal identity. So when we get to the crown chakra, if our Kundalini is traveling up that journey, once we get to the crown chakra, this is a place of bliss. This is a place of knowing our oneness with the universe, knowing our oneness with all things. I often think, I think the Dalai Lama keeps coming up, and he gets a lot of criticism for conversations he's had with criminals and popes. There was a man who tried to assassinate, I forget which pope it was. I think it was the past pope, Pope John Paul II. Somebody tried to assassinate him, and he went to see him in prison pretty often and had conversations with him. And this is really just knowing that, no matter where we are in our journey, we're all one. And to me, by the way, I know that we've talked a lot of masculine up here, but oneness and nurturing and togetherness, to me, that's the divine. That's also an aspect of the divine feminine, of the divine mother. It's like, keeping everybody one and keeping everybody remembering that we're all part of this universal family. The orientation is self-knowledge. So we talk a lot about knowing God, and we talk a lot about knowing our higher power and having faith in a higher power here. And, this is a reminder that this is really a reflection of you. You are this, I understand myself to be a divine fractal of God, of the oneness that is the universe. So for me, it's easy to understand that my self-knowledge journey is a journey of knowing God. It's a journey of knowing, the gifts that God gave me. That's personal. So in addition to, this crown chakra connecting with God and the divine energy, there's also that self-knowledge. Who am I? And who am I in relationship with the divine? Who am I in relationship with the universe? Who am I in relationship with this oneness? And the demon is attachment. And a parigraha is the yama and niyama that talks about non-attachment. Attachment is a big difficulty. And for me, it is one of the most difficult things, because as I move on this journey, attachment to material things, of course, those are, they're lovely to have, but am I attached to them? Do I need them? When they're taken from me, do I feel their loss? So this is that idea of travel light. Attachment, though, for me, where it gets tricky is the loss of people we love. It's that belief in the oneness and all that is, that when our lives change and when our lives shift, meaning when somebody dies, non-attachment means that we know that it's meant to be, or we'll see each other again, or any of those things. It's a beautiful, peaceful, blissful way to be. And I am not personally there yet, because there's some things I'm completely attached to that I know I would be devastated if I lost them. So, your kids, I feel like that's, these are big things. Non-attachment and parigraha, these are huge Buddhist concepts, huge Hindu concepts, and Christianity as well. Any religion is dealing with grief and dealing with death, and that's this attachment piece is the bigger part of that. Any thoughts or questions on this part, or we can just move forward? Issues, transcendence, imminence. So that's imminent. What is imminent in our lives? Belief systems, higher powers, divinity, union, and vision. There's actually a lot more I wanted to go over. There's consciousness, awareness, the witness, operating systems, universal identity, divinity, information, intelligence, and meaning. And the developmental task here is assimilation of knowledge, being able to receive and process. So all the way up our journey, we're feeling things. We're feeling with our body, tangible, physical things. We're feeling our emotions. We're receiving anger and power. We're, tapping into our higher selves and tapping into our heart space, our center of love, our infinite. We're creating, we're getting feedback in our throat chakra. We're seeing all these things. And this is this big journey of information. And here, this is where we assimilate all the things that are coming to us. One of the things I love, I just did my Mother Mary initiation again in the Sophia Code. And one of the things I love about working with that chapter is how Mother Mary is a full-bodied receiver. She's teaching you how to receive the beauty of life, how to receive somebody's words, receive somebody's facial expressions, receive their energy, all the things, knowing you're protecting yourself, but really seeing somebody for more than face value, more than just their words, seeing the whole body, this whole body receiving. So that reminds me of that ability to process. It also reminds me that multitasking doesn't exist, which is something I try to bring back all the time. But that this assimilation of knowledge, that peace in knowing there's space and time for everything. Note to self, I'm going to have to watch this one later. Development of wisdom. And wisdom is, a full-bodied experience as well. There's wisdom in a woman who has 10 kids and lives on an island and farms. There's innate, gorgeous wisdom that she can give. There's wisdom in a Harvard professor. There's wisdom that all of us have. And this is just really developing. For me, I always think, what's my passion? What's my purpose? What I do if I didn't want to even get paid for it? What that to me is that development of wisdom is in alignment with all the other chakras. So coming up that journey of who we are. Any thoughts or opinions on those things? The crown chakra is always very meditative. Our planetary chakras, the crown chakra is naturally in Tibet, which is funny because, right, this is a land that has been fought over. The Dalai Lama, if you don't know, is not allowed to live in Tibet, even though that's where Tibetan Buddhism is from. And I will not take a position on that because I know nothing about that conflict, but I do love the Dalai Lama. So here's the element of thought. So the element of thought is, this is a very special element, the crown chakra. We've come to this place, like we've come all the way up to this beautiful piece here. And this is where we connect, and we're going to go over next week, our final week. I'm going to go over all these upper chakras and then our Earth Star chakra that's deep in the ground, about 8 feet beneath us. But of the standard chakras, this is the last one. This is the connection to the divine, and this is our thought. And we know our thoughts. There's a whole world happening. I'm sure I'm not alone when I say that there's an incredible world happening in my brain that nobody knows about but me. There's not enough time on this planet, in this lifetime, to explain all the thoughts that are going on in my head. And I think that's true of all of us. But this is connection. Who does know is spirit and God. All these things, are being witnessed, and your higher self, if those concepts resonate with you. So this is connection to spirit. It's universal consciousness. that idea that we are all part of this universal consciousness. And again, I'm doing a lot of work with archetypes, and one of the most fascinating things about archetypes, and those are like the hero, the artist, the artist or the creator. Let me see, I got a note in here. The persona, the shadow, the magician, the hero, the outlaw, the innocent, the sage. These are all like ways that we sort of categorize who people are. And we're all kind of born with them, which is the most fascinating thing in Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud's sort of, when they talk about the archetypes. And we can look back in ancient history and, contemporary history, every era, and see the king and see the tyrant. And we can see the jester and the magician. They all have these very similar archetypes. I love that in goddess work. When I work, we're doing a lot of work with the divine feminine. So wrathful goddesses like the Morrigan or Kali Ma, they're also the great mother, and they teach with tough love. There's no time to waste when you're teaching your children how to survive and how to heal. So it's just amazing that India and Ireland had very similar goddesses. So that's that universal consciousness, possibly. Wisdom is thought is wisdom. It's unity, and it's self-knowledge, which is, the purpose of this chakra. Here's the yantra. So we know that Sahasrara means thousandfold. So this is the 1,000-petaled lotus. I've also heard this called the infinite petaled lotus. And obviously this is your crown chakra blossoming, opening up. And is it infinite? What is 1,000? It's like we take a Western concept, 333 in the Bible, those numbers that keep coming up, they just mean infinite. They just mean a lot or something. They don't mean those actual numbers. What they meant when they wrote them was, this is a lot of people, or this is an infinite number of people. I think there's like 13 people getting into, that's a lie, but it's like a ridiculously low number of people getting into paradise. And, I'm hoping that that's not the case, if that's where we're all headed. I know in my heart that's not the case. But again, there's proof that these are just numbers that represent an infinite or, a greater number. So our Kundalini, remember, rests at the root. And that's our foundation. And we're journeying up. We're journeying through all the chakras. And once the Kundalini reaches the crown chakra, there's this bliss, this moment of peace. Yogis call it something special. And I didn't want to bring that into this, but there is a special moment when your Kundalini reaches this crown chakra. And it's really just basically saying that you're one with the Supreme Being, that you have dissolved that separation that, in my opinion, it's a false separation from God, that God is not tangible to us, or that the divine or the creator is not tangible. And this is when knowing and known, what's been known, what you know, these ideas dissolve into one. It's just knowing. It's just that beautiful knowing. And one of the things, I don't know if I spoke about it with you guys. Have I talked to you about the clairs, like claircognizance, clairvoyance? So this is claircognizance. And this is one of my favorites. This is when you just know. It's almost like you don't have to hear clairaudience. You don't have to hear something whispering. You don't have to see it, clairvoyance. This is claircognizance, is just knowing something. I remember playing Battle of the Sexes years ago. Oh my gosh, Nicole, this might have been with you. But one of the questions was, what does DOHC mean? And I was like 20. And it just immediately, and I know nothing about cars, and for whatever reason, I knew it was dual overhead cam. Like I knew that was the answer. And I still don't know what that is. And I'm sure I'd heard it somewhere and it was just buried in my unconscious, but I immediately knew the answer. And I said it out loud to the girls, and one of the guys goes, that's not it. And I was like, oh, okay, that's not it. And I just we lost the question. Like he totally just tricked me into losing the question. And I remember that because it was a moment where I did know the answer and there's no reason why I knew that answer. And I let somebody talk me out of the fact that I did know it. And that's sort of that, the illusion that exists here, that we don't have these clairs, that our intuition is not a real thing. So this is a big part. When you know something, when you know it in your bones, trust it. And if you're wrong, no big deal. I mean, could be a big deal, but it's about fine tuning. It's about remembering that you have this capacity to just know. And remember, your consciousness is like 12%. Your unconsciousness is like a vast mountain of information and emotion and all of these pieces that make us who we are, that aren't sitting here in our thoughts. Any thoughts on that? Are you guys following me? Okay, good. All right, good.
I love the yantra, the 1,000 petal lotus, or
Yeah.
infinite petals. I think it's beautiful.
Mhm.
It's gorgeous.
This is a beautiful chakra. I mean, it's bliss, right? Just
Yeah.
like, yeah, that oneness with God, oneness with each other, oneness. This is all really happening here. And there's bits and pieces, you're not, they always say before, that saying, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. I feel like we're always just on the journey until you are an ascended master, until you are, like I said, Buddha or Jesus or Kuan Yin or wherever you're heading. It's all a journey. Sometimes we have moments of that bliss, right? I'm sure we've all felt it in our journey, that moment where all things are in alignment and you think, I almost feel like those are moments where you're like, my God, I hope I remember this feeling. And sometimes it happens in meditation. Sometimes it happens in a yoga class. Sometimes it happens when you're with your loved ones, whatever that looks like. And I feel like it's just the up and down of clearing what's happening in this channel of energy. And this is just one way of one philosophy of finding that bliss. Very powerful philosophy. So when our crown chakra is balanced, this is when, and again, these are the important pieces, right? Because these tell us when we can look to the chakras to help us, So for me, I usually do Sudoku puzzles to relax, which is not really acceptable, but I am so good at them. I just love doing them. And the past 2 weeks, because we just rented this space and I'm painting, I have paint in my hair. That's why it's back. I can't get it out. But I can't do any Sudoku puzzles. And that's because I am so out of balance that I literally, it's actually a funny thing that I cannot process these numbers. So, there's crown chakra work here. There's probably a lot of root chakra work here as well. So this is your ability to perceive, analyze, and assimilate information appropriately. Whatever appropriate is. Intelligence. You're thoughtful. Thoughtful is a big thing. I feel like there was a moment where I was like, I never ask I never ask how people are. I never ask these questions like these. And it's for me, it was always self-consciousness. Like I was always dealing with making sure I was showing up in a good way. And I remember the moment where I was like, you could ask how somebody else is doing. Like you always ask when someone asks how you're doing. So like, for me, that was a shift in my thoughtfulness. Like there's a whole world out here and I don't have to, deliberate over myself, which I don't do anymore. Thank God. Every day, not every day. Awareness. If you're open-minded, that's huge here, right? And we're going to find out in the traumas and abuses that being open-minded, being available. One of my professors, he was a lawyer who, my theology professors, a lot of them are second life professors, second life work. So he was a lawyer and he was retired and he got his PhD in theology and he was very well spoken. My point is he's a good debater. And he said, you know, you have this truth that lives right here. He said, and every now and then another truth comes at you and it really just is against what this truth was right here in your heart. He said, and if that triggers you, if that truth makes sense and it conflicts with the truth that's already in your heart, he said, it's time to rethink what's been lodged in your heart, like what your truth really is. And that's, you know, that's like the art of debate, the art of going back and forth and being open-minded for something that does mean something to you, not blocking, you know, information that's coming in. The ability to question, the ability to ask questions, to feel confident that you're, wherever you are in your processing, it's okay to ask questions. Spiritually connected, wisdom and mastery, and broad understandings. So I always, people, I have one girlfriend who always calls herself a jack of all trades, master of none. But I would consider that broad understanding. She knows just enough about almost everything to get by. And that to me is wisdom. That's wisdom and mastery. Traumas and abuses, and these, you know, they feel obvious. Anytime there's withheld information. And again, these are the big ones, right? There's every day there's things coming in or, you know, hitting our energy field. This is a good opportunity for me to talk to you about protecting your energy. You know, they always talk about empaths. I think we're all empaths. I think we, you know, our energy field is 6 feet out, right? Our aura is 6 feet out and it's circumference around us. So when we walk past somebody who's really angry, their energy field meshes with ours. And now we're really angry and we're like, well, what the hell? I don't even know why I'm angry. So that's our energy bodies connecting. So you can always ask for help cleansing your energy. You can always say, is this emotion mine or is this somebody else's? And remember, your heart will give you an answer. And when you wake up in the morning, you can just envision a beautiful 6-foot bubble of light around you and just ask to protect your energy every day. And you have the power within you to do that. Or you could ask your connection. You could ask the divine. You could ask your angels. You can ask whoever you want. Archangel Michael is huge with shielding and protecting. That's a big deal for him. If you ask him to bring in shielding, you know, protection for you. So withheld, I have no idea where that came from. I don't even know where I was. Withheld information. So when people don't tell you things, when you feel lied to, when you, you know, a lot of these chakras, I didn't give you this, but the chakras, you develop them as you get older. So like you're born, the root chakra develops in utero. It is what it is. And this 7th chakra really develops in early adulthood and after. So where we've seen a lot of abuses that you would associate with children, childhood abuses, when those chakras were forming, these feel more like adult abuses, relationships, just things that happen to older people. So withheld information. Does a baby know that you're withholding information? They don't care at all. That's something that we learn as we get older when people are lying to us. Education that thwarts curiosity. And this one just let me know that I'm, you know, there's still some childhood stuff here. So education where you're not curious, you're not able to ask questions. Like Montessori schools are built off of children just doing what they feel like they want to do and making that their curriculum. I'm sure it's forced religion. This is a big one. And again, I associate this with older people as well. Being forced to be in a religious community that you do not believe in. I think that, and it's not just your parents, it's society expects you to have a certain kind of religion to fit in. In my opinion, forced religion pushed me away from my connection to the divine. And when I left, and this is my journey, because I think that there's a lot of really great, very religious people out there. But for me, if it's forced on you, stepping away from that and choosing to connect to God in a way that resonates with you That's, obviously that's your crown chakra. That's a balanced crown chakra. Invalidation of one's beliefs. And we already talked about that a little bit, your claircognizance. If you believe in something and you know it's true in your heart and you just know it's true and it's invalidated, you stop trusting you stop trusting that which you already know is true. Blind obedience. I definitely am a very obedient person, and I actually have to check myself. It's just inherent in me. And I don't blame anybody for that. I'm just a really good rule follower. Like I really love to follow the rules and get my stuff in on time. And blind obedience stops me from questioning, stops one from questioning, is this for me? Does this feel like love? Does this feel like my path? Am I doing this for me, or am I doing this for somebody else? Misinformation, lies, and spiritual abuse. So spiritual abuse is like the yogis in the 60s and 70s. A lot of them were sort of sexually abusing their communities. I mean, that's happening in a lot, but that was a big part of it. These people would leave their homes. I think there's, I don't know their names. There's one in Boston, but these gurus, they had these followers who just adored them, and they, follow. It's the age of the guru is kind of dead. I love that concept that the age of the guru is dead, because we give these superhuman powers to people who make us feel good about ourselves, but they're also human. They're having a human journey, and they're capable of error. And spiritual abuse would also be like priests who were hurting little, babies, and any type of way that we wield religion as a weapon to control others. It's a huge one. Anyone resonating with these? Can you see these sort of in your own experience? Yeah.
Well, and I, what's coming up for me is within the country, I see it, right?
Misinformation of our media. Is that what you're talking about? Just like
Kind of,
everything?
and just the blind obedience, and just the power of some of these religious, sections of the country. Yeah, really, that's what I'm getting there.
And it's so heartbreaking. I was thinking that as I was saying, I'm so glad you brought it up, because I was thinking about, this cloud of non-truth, and you bringing up blind obedience. Like, am I left or right? Am I Democratic or Republican? And if I'm one of these camps, I can't have any other ideas. Like, there's no you know what I mean? Like, there's no in between. It's just all this fighting. And I feel like that fighting and that anger is what separates us from that divinity of knowing we're all one.
Or just believing what people are saying.
Oh, yeah.
It's just yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can we heal the country's crown chakra? I don't know.
One crown chakra
Yes,
at a time.
Exactly. We'll start with my own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's like, we talk about the angry person walking past you, but when you're having a blissful moment and you're walking around outside and you're like, you say to a random woman, my God, you look beautiful today. That changes her whole day. Do you know what I mean? Like, it goes both ways. Like, your beautiful energy also goes out into the world 6 feet wide, and, online, wherever you are, but it's one crown. So much to that.
Yeah.
So much, Mindy. Very deep. Yeah. Deficient and excess. Spiritual cynicism, learning difficulties, a rigid belief system, apathy, excess in lower chakras, materialism, domination, and greed. It's almost like you knew what was on this slide, Mindy. It sounds exactly like that false religious oppression, political, nationalistic thing that seems to be happening. I feel like I fall on apathy often. Like, I just don't want to know about it. Doesn't mean I'm focused on myself and I'm meditating. Sometimes I just need to shut off from everything. And excess is over intellectualization. That's a real word. Over intellectualization. And only an overly intellectual person would ever use that word. Spiritual addiction. That is a huge thing in our community. Because I think when people start to feel that high of like, oh, there's something else. Oh, I can do this. And that feels really good. And I'm sleeping really well. And, you know, oh, my dreams mean something, and journaling and manifesting. And then it becomes like an addiction. And it's super important to have a human journey. We're here to have a human journey. We wouldn't be here if we didn't need the human journey. And it's full of love and beautiful things that, you know, I'm even relationships and our sacral chakra and, you know, having babies and all those different things. That's all part of the human journey. And it's very easy to get lost in this spiritual addiction. So we always, you know, grounding work is really good for that. Actually doing no spiritual work is really good for that. Just hanging out with your family and just relaxing, or people you like if you don't like your family that day. Confusion and disassociation from body. This root chakra and the crown chakra, they say like they all kind of like the third, the vision, your vision connects with your sacral, but and there's probably a lot of background to that. The only one that I really connect, if I want to know God and I want to know my purpose and know my work and ascend and do all those cool things that everybody's talking about, it starts with my root chakra. It starts with being grounded. It starts with appreciating my body and this human journey, this unique journey. That's the path for me to this oneness up here in the crown chakra, celebrating self and the whole. Disassociation from body. Physical malfunctions, coma. Let's see what the boss has to say about this. I have actually known, I'm not going to make stuff up. That feels like something I've learned in a movie. Hold on. There's so much stuff in this book. Did you guys get this book?
I just ordered it. I did order it.
This is actually, I get a money back if you buy this book, apparently, as many times as I've recommended it to you.
Wow.
I don't, I'm only kidding. She has no idea I'm using this book. Let's see. But once again, it's not in here. I'm not supposed to read it. This is the book we're using for anybody who watches this on the replay. It's Anodea Judith. So comas. And again, really leaning into the possibility that we are creating, we are manifesting every second of the day, creating our tomorrow. Maybe you created your coma. And again, these are hard conversations to have with people who, you know, I have an aunt who lost her daughter very young to cancer. And there's a lot of conversations that I don't know that she would ever be ready for. And that, I mean, she'll be fine. But a lot of these are really big concepts when we're in the thick of our trauma. So take what you are able to receive and leave the rest, is what I always say. Like attachment. I'm not ready to release attachment to my kids, but you know, that's the journey. Migraines. I have migraines, and I absolutely know it's because I'm thinking too much. My migraines are horrible if I overdo it in school and I don't sleep enough. I actually have this ring on my finger. This measures my activity during the day and my sleep at night, so that if I do not get my blood pressure down to a certain point, or if I haven't slept enough continuous hours, I'll actually go back to bed now, because I know that like my brain needs to rest a specific amount of time. Otherwise, I mean, I used to study for hours and hours, and I'm just too old to do it. Brain tumors, amnesia, cognitive disillusions, amnesia, and I would go out on a limb and say Alzheimer's, things of that nature. So I knew a Kundalini teacher whose father had Alzheimer's. He had pretty rough, he was gone. I mean, he was in a home, and she would go in and she would hold his hands and she would do Sata Nama. Have you ever done that chant? That's a really great chant. So you can do it with your fingers, like you're touching the different points, the mudra points. And that is a way that she was using to heal his chakra. And it's so sweet. She used to cry when she told the story, but he would remember her. And he would just like grab her face. And she said she would go, I think until he died, she would go and do it like every day. But that's also a way of grounding, you know, and it's Sanskrit, it's very vibrational. Satanama is great for addictions, quitting smoking. There's a lot of really great reasons to use that Satanama. But there's plenty of YouTube videos on that. You can do 7 minutes. And it's like 1 minute loud. The second minute you are quiet. The third minute you're silent. You say it in your head. And then the fourth minute you're silent. The fifth minute you're whispering. And then the last minute you are speaking loud again. So that's 6 minutes, not 7. I think it actually is 7 minutes, and it's like 1 minute and 12 seconds each time, or, you know, there's these auspicious numbers to do these things. But when you speak Satanama, you're speaking it to heal the world. And when you whisper it, and when you say it within you, it's the closeness of your heart and your surroundings. That is one of my favorites.
Does it mean anything, or is it more of a
Yeah.
vibration?
It's so Satanama, those are seed syllables, right? So we didn't talk about the seed syllable for the crown chakra. So the third eye is Om, H-O-M, the, you know, the original Om. So you say it out loud. And when you're chanting for your crown chakra, you say Om in your head. You don't say it out loud. If you're doing crown chakra work and you want to chant the seed syllable, it's Om, but it's silent. It's in your head. So it's your thoughts. And then you can always, you know, chant 108 times. That's what the mala beads are for. So you can chant 108 times, which is auspicious. And fun fact, Mother Mary's rosary beads are 54. So it's half of the 108. So Satanama, so we have 4 seed syllables, S-A-T-A-N-A-M-A. Sa means infinity, Ta means life, Na means death, Ma means rebirth, infinity, life, death, rebirth. And this translates to shedding the old you and becoming who you were meant to be, your true self. It's known to calm you down, increase serotonin. It's perfect for anyone with stress, anxiety, or depression. And it's actually very popular in like addiction yoga practices. There's actually an entire AA community, yoga community up in North Jersey. That's actually phenomenal. All right. And so here are the healing practices, aside from Satanama. There's establishing physical and social connection, spiritual connection, learning and studying, spiritual discipline, meditation, examining your beliefs. This is about self-knowledge, and working with your higher power. So there are a million directions I would go in with this. And I think this is an enormous part of my personal ministry and my work, is leaning on ascended masters and leaning on God for support, but knowing that you have the power within you, not God's power, but that power within you to be, do, experience anything and everything. And all those things are already in existence. That what you are, that what you desire is already real, has already been manifested in some version of you. You are already all things. Take what you want, leave the rest. I get very excited about this. I also don't want to bring you guys to church and force you to believe this stuff. Affirmations. Divinity resides within. I am open to new ideas. Information I need comes to me. The world is my teacher. I am guided by my higher power. I am guided by my inner wisdom. So you see there's this balance of looking for help from your spirit team, your tribe, and going within, knowing you have all those pieces. You know, it's funny, I'm also thinking when I was in a class, it was called Spirituality in Nature, and it was really talking about how the different religions take care of the world, take care of Mama Earth. And when we were doing Judaism, we read the story of Adam and Eve. And our teacher, the same lawyer, excuse me, said, you know, there was no apple in this story. And if you look in the Bible, there's no apple in that story. Some people call it a pomegranate. They call it fruit, the tree of knowledge. And my teacher said, I honestly think they had sex. He's like, that's what I think the tree of knowledge is. They had sex. I actually believe that too. And we had this beautiful older, she was, I'm saying older because I'm older too. Like she's not college student age. She was, you know, my age. And she was devoutly Baptist, devoutly. And she flipped a desk and left. And we were like, oh my God. And he said, he was like, you know, he went back to that. Like sometimes that truth, there's new truths, because it seems obvious, like they had sex. That's the tree of knowledge, right? That's why they got kicked out of they knew they were naked. You know what I mean? Like there are all these things. It doesn't have to mean that, but, and she came back 3 days later, 3 classes later, she did come back. And I just remember thinking, I have definitely felt like that. Like she unfortunately did it in public in front of a bunch of kids who were like, they definitely had sex. But I've definitely had moments in my life where I have flipped a desk because somebody said something and I knew it was true, but it was so against everything I already stood for. So I had to like reevaluate who I was, but that felt important to talk to you about. So the world is my teacher. And I will always remember her, and she may be embarrassed about it, but she will always forever be the symbol of what happens when I am refusing to receive from other people, when I am being closed-minded. So that is the crown chakra, ladies. Those are our 7 chakras. And I really loved doing every single one of them. So thank you for being on this journey with me. I hope everybody's watching the replay. These are all going to be on my YouTube channel. So everyone, you can watch them whenever you want. I'm going to load them. I think I already loaded them. I have been loading them. So your links, you have the links. I'll create like a lineage of links so that people can watch them one after the other and not have to sift through what's on my YouTube channel. So thank you. Do you guys have any final thoughts on the crown chakra?
No.
I can't hear you. Nicole, you're silenced. There she is.
It's a great conversation I just had with you. No, I said I just wanted to say thank you so much, because that was part of my journey was, you know, is that I want to learn so much more. There's so much that I don't know. And every time I talk with you on here or anywhere, I learn so much from you. And you know, I love that so much. So I really appreciate these 7 weeks, and I'll see you next week. But
yeah,
this was really awesome. There's so many things that you've said that, like, up next is I have to learn all about the archangels. That's my next journey from here. I'm like, there's so many more than I even realized existed that I want to know all about. And so I really appreciate the time that you took to do all of this, because me learning more is really good for my head and all of my chakras. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I feel that way too. Thank you for putting it all together.
Yeah.
It's been very supportive and interesting and relevant to everything that we've been kind of working on, that I've been working on. So thank you again.
You're welcome. My
Yeah.
pleasure, ladies. It was huge for me to put this together because I have not been focusing on my chakras, and this is a really beautiful opportunity to like get back in tune with them and make it more of a cellular memory thing, because you forget if you know, until you really embody something, you know, reading it again is huge. So thank you for joining me and giving me an opportunity to talk about the chakra journey. So next week, we are going to gather about the upper chakras. There's like, there's a chakra 0 that's beneath us. And then there's chakras 8 through 13 above us. And those are really cool ones. So I will pull all that together. That will be really fun. And again, that's one school of thought. If you look up chakras, there are a lot of new age schools of thought. This was not in the Rig Veda. This is definitely